Today is October 19th, 2012, and this is Kelly Karen. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Kelly came in about 3 weeks ago and had a history of some panic and anxiety issues and nausea issues. Kelly, can you just tell us what's happened over the last 3 weeks?
In 3 weeks, I've been resting, doing my adrenal exercises like Dr. Joe told me, and I've got allergy testing done, and found out I was allergic to something like 50-some foods. When I started doing the rotation diet, I've only been on it about a week, and almost all of my issues are gone. They just sort of disappeared.
What kind of problems, Kelly, were you having when you initially came in, and how long had you been struggling with the condition prior to coming in?
Well, some of the symptoms I've had off and on for years, and other ones it's been just really super bad since about the beginning of the year. So it's been maybe 10 months or so.
And the primary issues were what?
Horrible stomach pain off and on. Jittery. I felt like I was going to jump out of my skin sometimes. A lot of anxiety, and headaches were horrible. Headaches, I mean just migraines that would sometimes keep me in bed.
And you were treated medically?
Yeah.
And tell us about that experience. You went to the emergency room. How many different times, and what were they telling you?
I went to the emergency room 3 times, and they told me basically it was all in my head. They sent in psychiatrists in the room to talk to me and tried to set up psychiatric appointments, and I knew something inside of me, just I could feel it. It was not in my head, it was in my body, and I could not get the medical doctors to listen no matter what I tried. They just would not listen. And so finally, when it was so bad, I stayed awake all night long, and I couldn't sit still, and I was just a mess. I was an absolute pathetic mess.
And you were being treated where?
At the Mayo Clinic.
Okay.
And I decided to call Dr. Joe. I came in, and after the first adjustment, I started to notice a little bit of a difference. I was really tight, and it didn't take but about 3 weeks now of treatment with him, and almost every one of the symptoms is gone. I feel awesome.
What's interesting is some of the things that Kelly was struggling with, if you don't mind me sharing, was you've had a chronic fungal issue.
Yep.
That's been present for months.
No, it's actually been present for close to 8, maybe even 10 years.
Yeah, so a serious fungal issue.
Yeah.
With actual oral thrush, and then this nausea issue, and just a variety of things that were upsetting your physiology and your balance and your energy, and you just reached a threshold point, I think, last spring with stress and a combination of things that kind of just tipped you over.
Yeah, yeah.
And medicine, prescription medicine, was not going to fix that. Is that true?
I've tried everything. At the hospital, in the emergency room, they gave me the prescription Ativan, and it didn't do anything but put me to sleep. And yet they kept saying, when you wake up, from sleeping a few hours, you'll feel fine, you'll be calmed down. Well, I wasn't. And then I would go back to the emergency room because it would get really bad again, and they'd send me home with the same thing, and it wasn't going anywhere. It was just the same cycle.
So, Kelly, do you have any advice for future patients?
Follow Dr. Joe's plan. It actually works. And truth is, some of the stuff he was asking me to do I thought was a bit crazy, but I was willing to try it because I was so sick. I was so in such bad shape that I just was willing to try anything, and I did it, and it actually worked.
So your desperation turned into a blessing, actually.
Big blessing.
Cool. So, Kelly, thank you so much for sharing. Do I have your permission to share your story with doctors, students, and patients anywhere?
Yes, you do.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is a quick addendum. Kelly had just one other little story to share, and regarding her coffee consumption. Go ahead, Kelly.
For pretty much my whole adult life, I have been drinking coffee just to make it through the day. Before I did anything else in the morning, I would get up and I would go straight to the kitchen and make a pot of coffee. And over the years, the pots of coffee would get bigger, and the strength of the coffee would get stronger because my body would get used to a certain strength of the coffee, the certain amount of caffeine. And I would get sort of desensitized to it then, so I'd have to make it stronger and bigger and drink more. And before I came to Dr. Joe, I was literally up to 3 large pots of coffee every day. And they were getting pretty strong.
And so what did you tell Paul? What needed to happen, did you say?
It was so bad that I knew that I couldn't smell the coffee or have it in the house without feeling like a need to go to it. So I told my husband that the only way that I could do this is that if there was the pot of or the entire coffee pot was gone, and we got rid of it. And I told him if he wanted coffee, he was going to have to go someplace else to get it. He was going to have to go buy it someplace because I literally could not have it around.
And it's been how long since you've had coffee then?
Probably about 3 months or so.
3 months.
Since we started this whole program, so.
And that was one more thing that was upsetting and irritating your fungal infection.
Yep.
And creating stress on your central nervous system and a whole variety of issues. Great job, Kelly. Yep. But that was going on for years.
Years. Literally most of my adult life.
Thanks for sharing your coffee story.
No problem.
Today is December 12th, 2012. This is Kelly Kieran. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
And Kelly last shared with us on October 19th. She had been 2 weeks into her allergy-free diet and her nutritional program. And Kelly, I'd just like to touch bases with you again today to let me know kind of what's transpired over the last 7-8 weeks, how much improvement you've had, and what you've seen happen with your health over that period of time. Could you just share with us?
Sure. I've had a ton of progress. I don't feel nauseous anymore. I'm not getting headaches anymore. The numbness in my hands and feet have been going away. Well, they're pretty much gone. The blurry vision's gone.
Anxiety?
The anxiety is like not even there anymore. I don't think I've had any jitters or anything for about 2 weeks now. And I've lost, I think, 40 pounds, we figured, in about 10 weeks or so, which is incredible. It's amazing. I love that part.
Could you share, just briefly, your sleep changed too?
Yes, my sleep, I was waking up about every hour and a half to 2 hours all night long.
And this has been going on for how long with the sleep?
For just years. As long as I can remember, I've been doing that. I get up in the middle of the night and sometimes, I would be awake for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time, having to get up out of bed because I just couldn't relax. I couldn't sleep, rest, nothing. And now I'm actually sleeping for about 5 hours at a time. So
how does that feel?
Amazing, amazing. I used to have to like take a little break or have like coffee or pop or something in the afternoon to kind of jolt myself to get me going again for the day. And by the evening I was exhausted. And now I don't drink any soda at all. I don't drink any coffee, no tea with caffeine, nothing like, no caffeine at all or sugars or anything. And I have more energy than I think I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Really great, yeah.
So you've lost 40 pounds in about 10 weeks.
Yep.
And your energy is higher than you feel like it's ever been?
I think so. I don't ever remember feeling this much energy, really, at least as being an adult. Yeah. And
you shared that Paul, your husband, has noticed?
Yeah, he was sitting in the living room one day, and I walked in the living room, and he looked at me from across the room with this shocked look on his face, and I thought something was seriously wrong, and I said, "What's the matter?" And he said he just could hardly speak. It took him a minute or two to get it out, and he said, "You're just melting away. What happened to you?" So
really?
That was kind of fun.
Kelly, I'm so happy for you, first of all. It's so exciting. You weren't good when you came in.
I was awful. I felt like I was dying. I had been to Mayo Clinic multiple times, and they just kept telling me nothing's wrong, it's all in your head, that kind of thing, and I was so frustrated. And yeah, when I came to you, Dr. Joe, I wasn't even sure if you could do anything at that point. I thought I was just going to be miserable and die early. And yeah, I never expected this much improvement in such a short period of time. It's incredible.
What a wonderful Christmas gift.
Awesome. I love it.
It's so cool. Could you just rate, out of curiosity, in your opinion now, looking back 10 weeks ago, and then asking you to make all these dietary changes and kind of living the diet and doing the nutrition and creating the boundaries and doing all those things that we've talked about, on a scale of 0 to 100, Kelly, 0 being you can't do it, so difficult, it's impossible to do, 100 being very, very easy to do, no difficulty at all. How difficult was it to implement the different changes?
Truthfully, no joke, it was like a 2. I'm
2?
not kidding. For like the first week or 2, I think I cried every day because I was so frustrated. I thought, I can't do this. I don't know how to cook like this. I can't function. I just thought it was impossible. And yet, even though I made some mistakes and
Sure.
kind of flubbed up a few times, I kept at it. I was persistent, and I came in here, and you gave me a pep talk every once in a while, and I kept going. And now it's almost become like second nature to me. I don't even really think about it that much. I just sort of do it.
So it's dramatically easier now.
Oh yeah.
But the first
Yeah.
few weeks were really difficult.
Oh, it was horrible. Horrible. I remember crying to my husband saying, I can't do this. I'm just going to die. I can't do this.
I applaud you for sticking with it.
It was hard, but I'm glad I did.
Seriously.
Knowing how I feel right now, I am so thankful I stuck with it.
Good for you. The other thing I just wanted to share, and I mentioned it to Kelly during her treatment, is that she's about just short of 3 months into her program, and even the greatest benefit that you'll gain and reap as a result of making all these changes are still forthcoming. The next 3 months you will continue to see healing and health changes and repair and further improvement. So, I mean, you're on your journey, you're well on your journey, but you haven't fully got all the benefit from it yet.
I know, and I can't wait to find out what that's going to be like, because with how I feel now and how I felt horrible for years, I can't imagine feeling any better than I do now. And yet, logically speaking, from everything we've talked about, I know that in a few months I'm really going to be feeling even better than I do now.
Much more stable, stronger.
And I'm so excited to find out.
It's
what
exciting.
It's gonna be like. Yeah.
Kelly, do I have your permission to share your story with other doctors or students or patients anywhere?
Absolutely.
Are there any restrictions on that?
Not at all.
Thank you, Kelly, so much. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you. Today is May 16th, 2013. This is Kelly. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
This is an update. And Kelly was last seen in January, and I saw Kelly today, and she's got more really positive news. Kelly, do you want to just give me an update for the video?
Sure. In 7 months, I've lost 57 pounds, and I have not tried at all. It's just been melting off, and basically all I've done is gotten off the foods that I was allergic to, detoxified my body, that kind of thing, gotten rid of the infections that I had, and I actually feel better than I have in my life.
What when you say better than you've ever felt in your life, what does that mean?
I mean, I can honestly say I do not ever remember feeling this good, having this much energy, feeling this normal, this human. I can move better than I've ever been able to move before. It's just like, it's almost like being a whole new person. I can't even explain it, I don't think, so that other people can understand unless you've experienced it. I do not remember feeling this good as a teenager.
That's tremendous. What's the biggest thing that you've had to do to see this kind of change? What was the big factors as you see it?
The biggest thing I think is just building my body back up. My body over the years has just gotten so worn down and run down from the infections, from the toxins, that kind of thing. Totally changing the way I eat. Completely changing. And just getting rid of the bad stuff. I don't eat any sugar anymore. I don't eat any fried foods, junk foods, anything like that anymore. I totally got that out of my system.
Do you feel deprived at all?
Actually, no. In the beginning, I remember going home and crying when I couldn't eat some of this stuff because I was so used to it as part of my everyday diet, and I felt very deprived then. But now that I've gotten healed, I don't even want it. I don't even have a desire for it anymore because I feel so much better that the idea of feeling sick again is just totally turned off. I don't even want to go there.
Good for you. Could you just also share, you said you saw many doctors. Could you just give just a real brief summary on that point that you made just a minute ago when we were visiting?
Yes. For over 20 years, I have gone to doctors all over the country, from Boston to Arizona to Chicago, you name it. I have traveled the country trying to find a doctor that could help me because I was so sick, and every doctor would just say, we've done every test we can think of, there's nothing wrong with you. I've had doctors send me to psychiatrists saying it was all in my head. And then I'd go to the psychiatrist and they would say, nothing's wrong with you. And then they would send me to a nutritionist. And, well, you know the stuff better than I do, Kelly, and that kind of thing. And nothing was working. And it wasn't until I actually have gone through this process that I've actually gotten well and feel great.
I'm very proud of you. You've stuck to your program, your plan, and the future looks brighter, true?
Absolutely. 7 months ago, I would have never guessed I would be where I am now. Never. It's incredible.
Do you have any advice, Kelly, at this point for future patients?
Yeah. I remember watching some of these videos in Dr. Joe's office and thinking that was a joke, thinking there's no way that could happen. And I never would have believed it. But I got to the point where I was so sick that I was desperate enough to try it, and I tried it, and it actually did work.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, but it did work.
So you're saying that there's hope for people who don't think they can be helped?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Without question. And 7 months ago, I would have never thought that.
That's really neat.
So.
Do I have your permission to share this short video with doctors, students, and patients anywhere?
Yes.
Any restrictions on that?
No.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm
You're
proud of
welcome.
you. Keep going.
Thank you.